So, we are looking at a sample C program, and as we had discussed in the last lecture, we have a structure as is shown here. You can see that there is a main function here, a main function is there, and that main function is covered by two parentheses. Now, we can see that we start with a header file that includes stdio.h, and stdio.h stands for standard IO. That means, whenever we will get some instructions to carry out input or output, that will be in reference to or with respect to the standard input, that is a keyboard. That means, the data will be taken from the keyboard, and if anything is to be printed, it will be printed on the screen. So, that is a default thing for any C program. We have to put in stdio.h include hash include. This is known as, this is read as hash include stdio.h, unless you want to take the file, do not want to take it from the keyboard, or do not want to print on the screen. Next thing is that the main function, which as I said in the last class, that there must be a main function, and the main function will have a place for the parameters. You can see here for the parameters here, which may or may not be empty. The third point is the structure, the overall boundary of the main function, or for that matter for any function, there should be a boundary specified, and that boundary is specified with by these two curly brackets. Next, we come to the statement. As I had said that just like any other language, C also has got some words which are understood by the compiler. Printf is one such word, which is a statement for printing the sentence that is given within these double quotes. Okay. You can see the double quotes here, and so what will it print? It will print our first look at the C program here, as is shown here, that will be printed. Okay. Printf within quote, here there is a quote, end quote, and here is a start quote, our first look at the C program. In addition, there is I am sorry, let me go up. We can see two special symbols, which are these \n's, right. Let me just clear it up. Here you can see this \n, something of this sort. This means go to a new line or end of line. Now, suppose, let us see, suppose I had something like this, I had printed something, all right, I had printed something, there is a screen, I had printed a brown fox. Now, after I printed, that means the computer printed, you can see where my pen is, my pen is lying here, right, my pen is here. Now, if I say \n, this is now read as \n, that means my pen will come to the beginning of the new line, and here I will write our first C program, and by default my pen is here, but since I have given another \n, the pen will come here. So, next time if I again start with the \n, it will come to the new line. and if I do not give a backslash n, it will continue from here. You will understand this more when we look at more number of programs, it will be much more clear to you. Okay. So, this is a structure of a very simple C program, we will see more of this. Okay. Now, here is another program. Again, now it is easier to understand. You have got an include stdio.h, which has to be there for any C program. There will be a main function as is being shown here, and there are parentheses between these two, the program should be written. This is the boundary of the main function. Now, here there are some more new things which are being shown to you in the form of example. So, you see the first line is int ABC. What is meant by that is that I will be using in this program 3 variables A, B and C, and each of them is of type integer. Now, you are already acquainted with the term variables, but you are probably not acquainted with the term type of a variable. So, quickly let us go to that. We have got variables, and the variables can be of different type. Also, constants can be of different type. Constants can be of different type. For example, the variables can be of type integer. For example, 7, 17, all these things, 256, 1999, all these are integers. Another type of variable can be real numbers, which are say 10.5, 6.325, fractional numbers, right? These are real. This is also known as in C as floating point numbers. Now, integers are these, reals or floating point numbers are these. Similarly, I can have characters like say x, y, p, whatever, these are different characters, or maybe and is a character. Okay. So, each of any of these alphanumerics and all those can be characters. Now, so we know what is an integer, what is a real, what is a floating point, what is a floating point and what is a character. Now, a variable is of type integer. What does it mean? As you know, a variable is nothing but a memory location, right? It means, and suppose this variable, I say variable A is of type integer. So, there is a memory location corresponding to A, and this memory location can only hold values which are integers. So, 57 I can store here, but if I try to store 57.5 here, it will not store 57.5 because it has been told to be an integer. Similarly, if I say variable B is of type floating point, in short I am writing float, that means this variable B can store a floating point number. So, 57.5 can be stored here. Even if I try to store in B 57, in B, if I store 57, just 57, then that will be stored as 57.0. All right. Similarly, there can be types of characters. Now, depending on the type of the variable, the compiler assigns different sizes of memory for the different variables. For example, in standard C compilers, and it is a convention that for an integer 2 memory locations are allocated. Now, how big this will be, say sometimes each of these memory locations can be 16 bits, in that case I am using two 16 bits, that means 32 bits to store an integer. Whereas, for a real number, now this is a convention, 4 locations are used for storing a real number, all right. So, 64 bits, 16, 16, 16, 16. So, that will be for real numbers. Okay. Now, so depending on what I write, how I define the type of the variable, when I say A, B, C, I also say what type of variable it is. Is it an integer, is it a real, or what it is. Now, if you come here, you will see that here I have written float and I did not write floating point number. Now, in C, in order to specify a variable to be real, we declare that to be float, say P, Q, that means semicolon. That means P and Q are two variables which are of type floating point number, right. And if I write int A, B, C, that means A, B and C are three variables which are of type floating integer type, int. So, we do not write integer, we just write in C int. Okay. Now, obviously, then for P, how many bytes, how many depending on how many bits will be given, how many memory locations will be given. For P may be 4, Q it will be 4, but for A, B, C it will be only 2. All right. Now, let us therefore go back to the program here. Here we find int A, B, C. Now, this statement, this is called a type declaration. All right. This is known as a type declaration. Okay. This is the first statement. So, I have declared the variables. Now, in C program, before a variable is used, it should be declared about its type. Okay. The other thing is, you can see this. So, here you can see A has been assigned 10, B has been assigned 20. That means what? That means in the memory location A corresponding to A, memory location corresponding to A, 10 has been written, and to the memory location corresponding to B, 20 has been written. All right. And this statement, C assigned A plus B, I had explained in another lecture that means this data, this value 10 and this value 20 will be taken out on the from the left hand side from the corresponding memory locations. They will be added and the result will be 30. All right, the result will be 30 and the 30 will be written into the location C. So, this will be 30. Okay, this much is clear. Now, what about this line? I know that a printf statement just tells me that I have to print whatever is there in the code. So, how will the print look like? Please note, the sum of percentage %d and percentage %d is percentage %d. This is equivalent to writing this: the sum of dash and dash is dash. There are 3 gaps, one here and one here. Now, how will these gaps be filled? They will be filled by the values of A, B and C respectively. Each of these dashes will be filled up by the respective values of A, B, C. Now, this percentage %d is a format statement. It is saying that this gap can be filled by a digit or by an integer. This gap can be filled only with an integer. Now, here A is an integer, therefore, this gap will be filled with the integer value 10 and percentage %d, and is being printed as it is because it is within this double quote, and dash. This dash will be filled with another digit. This will be filled with another digit, and what is that digit? The second space B, and B is 20. So, it will be 20 is what? Is A plus B, is C, and what is the value of C? C, the value of C is 30. So, this is what will be printed, all right. So, this is how we print a sentence where I have got some places for different variables, and these places will be filled up by the values of the variables whose names are being specified here. I repeat, these gaps will be filled by the values of the variables whose names or whose identifiers are being specified here, and the type of this variable and the specification of this dash should match. Okay. So, now it will be printed sum of 10 and 20 is 30. Now, coming to the third sample program. Now, this is a little more complicated, and this is trying to find out the largest of 3 numbers. That means, what we had done in our flowchart exercise, finding the max of 3 numbers. Now, that was discussed using flowcharts and pseudocode, and here we are discussing that using a program, a C program. How is that idea translated into C program? Again, let us start with even before that I would like to point out something. Again, let us revise the structure of the program. We start with a header stdio.h. Now, we put in a comment. What is this? We saw in the last class, it is a comment. This comment is just telling us, the compiler has got nothing to do with it, it is just telling us that this program finds the largest of 3 numbers. Then as usual, we have got a main function which must be there, and there should be a parenthesis which is delineating the boundary of this program. Now, and also we have seen this. I am using 3 variables A, B and C, and I have put in the type of that. The next new thing that is coming up is here, scanf. This is an input statement for reading 3 variables from the keyboard. Now, recall that I said that for every language there is a vocabulary, there is a set of words that the language understands. So, in C, in an earlier one we have seen in an earlier program we have seen the statement printf, right. we had seen the program printf. So, printf is a particular word. Now, we now encounter another word, int is also another word, int is another word which is specific to C, and the meaning of this, every word will have a meaning. So, this means that whatever follows are variable names of type integer. Whatever follows this word int are variable names of type integer. Okay. Next new word that we are getting is scanf. Just like we had seen printf earlier, all right, printf is a word that tells us that something is being printed. Here scanf is a word that tells that whatever is inside this parenthesis is a input statement. Now, let us study this a little bit here. Here again you will see that there is a %d, 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 3 %ds within quote, and you know that %d means it is a specifier for an integer. Some integer is being will be read. Scanf means, say, assume it is reading. So, therefore, it is something like this. I am creating as if 3 places, because corresponding to each %d, 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 %d within the quote, I am creating 3 spaces, and followed by that, let us go back to this. I am sorry, here there should be no comma, all right. I am just giving 3 %ds. So, let me go back here. So, it should be within the quote, here it is scanf, within quote %d blank %d blank %d, and the quote is closed, comma. That means, as if, just to understand, I am creating 3 spaces, each of which are ready to accept an integer. And where will those be stored? Here I am writing AND A, AND B, and C. Now, here I will request you to just forget about this ampersand sign, forget about this for the time being. This we will explain a little later. Just assume that A, B and C, but before that, for any read statement we will have to put an ampersand before the variable names. There is a reason for that. What is the meaning of this sentence? The meaning of this sentence is that there are 3 places which are ready to hold 3 variables, which will come to the locations A, B, C. When I am reading, as if I am reading from the user 3 variables A, B, C. Okay. Now, why I put that ampersand we will explain a little later. So, 3 spaces have been created, and what are these spaces? These spaces are nothing but these 3 memory locations. Which 3 memory locations? Whose names have been specified here. All right. So, this is something that you have to be a little careful and practice a little bit, it will be very easy later on. So, within the quote I specify the format specifier, that is integer, in this case %d, and these are the variable names. All right. Now, let us go back to the anything that is new here. Now, a new word we are encountering here, if. If is a conditional statement, you need not bother about it. If you recall, we had in the flow chart, we had a thing called diamond, right, where we are taking some decisions based on some conditions, yes and no, right. We are doing that. Here we are looking at some condition here, if A is greater than B and A is also greater than C, if that is yes, then I am printing that A is the largest number. Try to apply simple logic here. If is a conditional word, condition is a conditional word, and this entire statement starting from if to this semicolon is one statement, and where I check the condition whether A is greater than B and A is greater than C. If that is so, that is, if the diamond comes out with that yes, then I am printing that the largest number is A. Otherwise, that means if the answer to this is no, otherwise I am again checking, again if, again I am checking another condition, I am checking another condition here. What am I checking? Is B greater than C? Yes. If yes, then I am printing the largest number is B. Otherwise, this is yes. Otherwise, if it is no, then I am printing the largest number is C. So, we are encountering some new words if and else. If means if in the diamond result of this diamond box is yes, then this statement will be executed. Otherwise, that means if the answer to this diamond box is no, then this part will be executed. This part will be executed. Now, here again the second block I am checking if B is greater than C. Again, if this is true, for this condition, this will be executed when this condition is true or yes. If it is false, then this statement will be executed. So, it is a little more complicated program, but a very useful example. All right. So, you see the comments we have already mentioned. Now, we are coming to another program. This is using what we earlier had said, that a big machine can be divided into sub machines. So, a big program, this one is not a big program, but any program can be broken down into different functions. Here is the main function. This one is main. Let me draw it a little nicely. Here we have got a main function, and inside there is another function whose name is my function. All right. Now, let us look at this. Now, first here there is another new thing we are introducing, and that you should understand, that is define pi to be 3.1415926. That means, this wherever in this program this pi will appear, there we will replace it with this value 3.1415926, but inside the program I will not write pi. I am just defining it once for all, and this means I am replacing pi by this value before the compilation is done. Okay. So, this is again a preprocessor statement. We will continue with this example in the next lecture.